In this video series, we will discuss the development of Kazuha, Xinyan, Fischl, and Mona as individual characters and as companions of each other, and how all this affected the traveler and us as the players. Keep in mind that this is not a theory nor a law explanation, but if it requires, I will clarify them. We begin our exploration with Kazuha. On the surface, Kazuha is a cool dude. Everyone likes him. He doesn't take many things too seriously. He doesn't talk or boast a lot. But when needed, he expresses what is necessary. All in all, he's a nice person, right? As with many nice people in fiction, he has a complicated past. From the start of his escape in Inazuma, he keeps running away from his past. He is not a coward, but he accepts that what happened in the past is in the past. He knows that he cannot fix it or anyone else, so he leaves his past behind, searching for a new thing to fill that void he left behind. In his part of the quest, each time we entered his domain, Kazuha is always locked behind one room with his bonsai pot. The mirage gave him what he wanted. It gave him the ability to run away from his past memories again. While going through the story, we learn that after Kazuha's great-grandfather, making bonsai became a family tradition in the Kaidara clan. After his great-grandfather's death, his grandfather spent many days staring at this one bonsai. Then he also started making bonsai, but instead of plants, he used rocks inspired by leeway. Although he did follow his father's footsteps, it was the beginning of the downfall of their clan. Then Kazuha's father took after his father. Then the Kaidara clan fell into even more disarray. Kazuha's father and grandfather deviated from his great-grandfather's ways, which led them to their downfall. His great-grandfather didn't cause the clan's downfall, but Kazuha's grandfather, doubting his great-grandfather's ways, was what sealed the deal. His grandfather inspired Liu, and his father read about monsters. They thought what doomed them was sticking to their origins, but in actuality, it was an outsider's meddling. Just a simple alteration of the mind crumbled an entire clan. They were not bad people, but they all had one thing in common: running away from the truth. Kazuha's great-grandfather refused to rat out Kunikuzushi because it would threaten his family, and Kazuha blocked his past, locking him in a room alone. The mirage was the physical manifestation of him locking himself out of his past. And each time when we went to the domain or Kazuha's house, it was in three different states. They all represent different state of his mind, different ages of his life, and how he remembers things differently. The first time we entered it, the domain reflected how it was back when his great-grandfather died and his grandfather was the head. Everything was there, but at the same time, everything was not there. The house was distorted. Some parts were upside down, and in some places, the walls were the ground and the ceiling. Kazuha was little back then. He didn't even comprehend what was happening. This is how Kazuha remembers his life back when his clan was starting to decline. Everything was a mess. What was supposed to be right was wrong. At the same time, his bonsai pot was empty. He had a clear conscience. He had cleared his mind of his past, but still, it didn't make up of what was already messy. Instead of making his own, he stared at his grandfather's bonsai pot, similar to how his grandfather stared at his father's pot after he died. He had a clear mind, yet he was lost. He was stuck in a single room, but he was lost in that single room, doing the same thing his grandfather did. As his grandfather, he too is unknowingly forced to look for answers, thinking about what went wrong and how they could change. In this stage, he is ignorant, but looking for answers. Next, he follows his father's footsteps and enters a much better oriented domain. At this age, he remembers things better, so the world is much more organized. Still, it's not perfect. Some parts are distorted, but could have been fixed. It's a stage where he is confused about what he should do. Should he take responsibility and share the burden with his father, or ignore it and completely move on? He is lost and alone. While immersing myself in this quest, something weird happened. The game took almost all of my control. Unlike a cutscene, I was given the ability to walk. It felt like I was forced to push forward as I listened to Kazuha's fluctuating emotions. It was similar to what I felt going through after Senora was just killed before our very own eyes. They took away all the colors, ignore the yellow pointers. Then I realized my camera was fixed, so I panicked. What the hell am I supposed to do? I couldn't even leave, all the buttons just vanished. And Kazuha's monologue. While I was moving forward, it just felt like all over the place. It was like going through a memory lane. The difference is, it was someone else's entirely. I was not playing as Kazuha, so it felt like I was invading his space. One time, he blamed himself for not being strong enough. Other times, he's angry with his family. He blamed his family for distracting him from his own work. Another time, he simply ignores reality. And then the final memory hits.
To know one is fighting a losing battle, and yet never once falter. This shall be my father's legacy.
But it was nothing too special. It didn't answer my questions. But there was this feeling that he had accepted everything and was ready to move on. As I came closer to this last stage, everything got distorted again. Furnishings were floating everywhere and the walls were broken, while Kazuha sat on the middle. It's like he found his solution while everything was broken. Then I thought to myself, why? Why are Hoyovers forcing me to listen to someone else's story? They remove our ability to skip dialogues. I could have pressed Alt F4 and dipped from there. But there is this mystery I want to see solved. I want that precious test at the end of this domain. So I kept pushing forward. Hoyovers know that we are thirsty for that sweet and sour story, so they deliver what we need right on the money. They know you don't want something to end, so you refuse to leave. Yet, we are forced to move on like Kazuha. After that, there is a montage of high-speed combat jumping from broken room to the broken room. It represents how fast things started falling down. It's like a domino effect. One wrong turn and more bad things will follow until you come to a rest. It was a back-to-back flood of emotions, starting from when he disbanded the Kadara clan to boarding the Arco, where he finally came to rest under Beidou. Sort of a mother figure he didn't have since he was very young. I know if I don't mention Tomo, there will be a bunch of angry comments. But while I was fighting, he was hiding under a table here. He was a good guide and gave a chest at the end, so he's cool. Even at the tail end of the quest, Kazuha didn't change. Either as he writes a letter to his father and burns it so it may reach him, he had already matured enough. He had already understood his mistakes and flaws and had already moved on. He knows that he did run away from his past, but he also knows, even if he did not, there was nothing he could have done. Since the very first red herring in his teaser, he was always running. But this is not a shonen anime where the main character accepts their past and becomes stronger. People run away from many things and only stops running when they find a better replacement to fill that empty bonsai pot.
I often travel during storms, which means my eyes are often blinded by the rain. Many times, I couldn't even see what was right in front of me. One day, I finally reached the top of the mountain. I looked out with the clouds beneath my feet and only the gentle breeze murmuring in my ears. The highest mountain is a clear and enlightened heart. Here there is no self, no hatred, no regrets, and no desires. Let's embark on a journey, for I am the breeze. We will meet again, no matter how far along the road. Life has just begun, and maybe the whole world can be my home.
He didn't have to go through a mirage to get character development. He knows how to move on from his past like the wind. Rules in Deva work in wonder, isn't it? He never moved in the mirage. It was always us who chased his memories to understand him. In the end, We were the ones who got character development, Traveler and the group who learned and felt all this. And this is a piece of my madness. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. It was a different kind of video from my theories, wasn't it? If you think Kazuha is cool, smash that like button so more people can find this video. If you are new here, you hitting that subscribe button would be much appreciated. And check out these cool theories and videos I made in the past. But remember, this is just a theory in a random dude's head on the internet. This was Egamin. Thanks for watching, and until next time, let your imaginations run wild.